It's a triple GC push from AchievedJaguar right into the forward base of Blastchild, and there's a solitary chicken here forward from Blastchild, and it's about to get fucking blasted by the 3 GCs, and there it goes. It's now reduced to a... How we doing, folks? Hello and welcome to episode 22 of the Supreme Commander Forge Alliance Forever Community Cast Library. I hope everyone's had a lovely Easter weekend. It's a bank holiday weekend here in the UK, and I've had an awesome bank holiday weekend this year. It's been really nice just to chill out and spend some time with the family, and I've got a family meal planned for Easter Monday, which I'm looking forward to, and I hope everyone else is having a similarly comfortable, cozy Easter. Right, guys, we've got some top draw 2v2 action today, and without further ado, we're going to kick straight in. So hope you enjoy it. Please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content, and if you haven't yet considered subscribing, please do so as we continue to try and get this speck of a YouTube channel to grow. So without further ado, enjoy. Well, hello there and welcome to some top draw 2 versus 2 action on the map Adaptive Diversity. And as I said, this one is top draw. We know it's top draw because the lowest ranking player is 1500, but we'll call this team on the left hand side of the map Team 1, this team on the right hand side of the map Team 2. Starting off with the players for Team 1 and going purple and Space Pirate Alien Shenanigans, weighing in at 1800, it's Horse. And then second up, his team compatriot for this match, going blue and Aeon, weighing in at 1900. It is one of our game's legends, AchievedJaguar. And then for Team 2, starting off at the bottom, going orange and Seraphim, coming in at 1800. It is Blastchild. And then lastly, for Team 2, going green and UEF, coming in at 1500. It is EvanTheCrackKing. If any children are watching this at home, don't do drugs, bad. Okay. Game quality for this one is a little bit on the lower side at 74%, but that is because there's no one really to balance Evan. Evan is against a 1800, and then we've got the 1900 achieved against the 1800 Blastchild. So the real mismatch here is the battle on the upper side. So all 4 players here opening up with virtually identical opening builds here, just coming up to 2 minutes, and everyone is at 4 mexes and 4 T1 power generators, I believe. Yes, indeed that is so. And in fact, the only difference between any of the build orders here is that Horse has elected to take the double adjacency on... Has he? Yes, he has. Yes, he has. He's got the double adjacency on the max points, and nobody else has taken that up with their first land factory. And Evan looks like he's going second air, and Blastchild also going second air. I think second air is a popular option on this map at the pro level, and we are very much at the pro level. Achieved also going second air. I don't think Horse is going to go second air. Is Horse going second land? Yes, Horse going second land there. So we've got the expansion out, and actually, if we just take a quick look here between AchievedJaguar and Evan, you can tell Evan is doing his proper solid homework here, trying to get up into that elite pro kind of ranking, because it's almost identical, the expansion, right down to the raiding parties heading forward. So both players here, Achieved and Evan, have got a little scout and a tank going down to the kind of beach area. And they've also got an identical little grouping heading forward, right down to one engineer, both building the hydro. So, very well rehearsed build orders here from AchievedJaguar and Evan. Evan, however, electing to go with an early T1 bomber. He's got his scout out there, and we're just going to jump into Evan as we see this scout go overhead. So we've got a tank there lining up nicely for the bomber, and that's going to swoop in surely and take its first kill, and yes, it does. I'm not quite sure. And Horse just saying there, get some inties out to his teammate. Horse himself hasn't yet gone an air factory, and the bomber picking up its second kill there, and just not enough time to get the bomber out on this third engineer here. And actually Evan could have pushed that bomber northward, and instead electing to send it southward. He takes out another engineer, but now AchievedJaguar has got the interceptor up and the bomber goes down. I just feel like if Evan had sent that northward and hunting down for this engineer here, it would have pretty severely hampered Horse's expansion into the north. I mean, okay, we're only talking about a couple of mexes and a hydro potentially, but you know, every little helps. And we've just got units pushing forward from Horse and Evan, just meeting up at the front lines, and a striker tank runs into the units of Horse, and it's actually Horse who's going to about face and retreat with a superior number of units there. And in the middle we've got Blast Chilled feeling out where he can push forward into AchievedJaguar here, and AchievedJaguar is only just now starting to haul up his ACU to the forward lines. We've got a T1 point defense going down from there for Achieved, but Blast Chilled looking like he wants to push through to the south. It's a pretty good target right now, as it's still kind of soft, unexpanded area. Although Achieved is getting some Auroras scrambled to the vicinity quite sharp, as she's got a scout there just hovering off at the appropriate length. So Achieved very tidily dealing with the little push there from Blast Chilled. And if we just take a quick look at the... So there's no ACU upgrades yet, and just as I say that, Evan going into the first upgrade of the match with a T2 upgrade on his ACU. And we've got the ACU of Blast Chilled now. It's pushed forward. He's just lost a stealth generator, but Blast Chilled is going to suck all of that right up and go into a T2 upgrade. And down in the south now we've got AchievedJaguar counter pushing from the earlier raid of Blast Chilled, who's now launching his own raid across the water with the hover ability of the Aurora. And Achieved just going to use a few little interceptors here to get a scout out over the expansion area of Blast Chilled, and we're just highlighting here a collection of engineers, and it looks a pretty soft target right now for Achieved, and he looks happy to start pushing in here. And we've got move orders queued up to try and intercept the reclaiming engineering party, and it looks like that Blast Chilled's seen this and he's rediverting units from the mid down to the bottom of the map. We've got a bomber coming in from Blast Chilled as well, and that's targeting one of the tanks, and it takes out a couple of the Aurora with their scout. So the Aurora party now have AchievedJaguar going blind for just a little bit, but Achieved bringing over interceptors, and a little air battle now ensuing between Blast Chilled and AchievedJaguar. We've got a bomber trying to thin out the push from Achieved, and Achieved looking like he's taken a early air victory here against his opponent. And Blast Chilled pushing down with much more units from the center now, as he just tidies up the earlier raid. Not too much damage inflicted there on Blast Chilled actually, and I'm pretty sure he'll end up positive on the encounter once he takes on board that reclaim. I'm just zooming out a little bit here, and Achieved's been pretty slow on his expansion into the beach area here. If we just look at his mirror Evan. Evan's fully got everything up on the north side of the map, and Achieved is yet to take 4 max points in a hydro, so Achieved probably just a little bit busier there on the micro with that earlier raid into his opponent Blast. And speaking of which, AchievedJaguar going into his first upgrade, which is gun speed. And we've got a TML out from Evan here, and it looks like it's going straight for a T2 max, and it's taken out the T2 max, which was offering up adjacency to 3 of Horse's land factories. So a nice little scalp there for this tactical missile launcher, and that indeed was its first kill. And the second missile looks like it's heading on over to the base of AchievedJaguar. I can't quite make out what the target is here, and AchievedJaguar is already into a TMD build there, and I think this max point here was the target of the second one, but the second missile from Evan missing its target. And Evan now going into his second upgrade, which is gun speed and range for the UEF. Just as we see AchievedJaguar finishing up his gun speed upgrade. Is he going to do the range? Yes, he is. God, I'm good at this. So we're just going to take a quick jump into all the guys right now, and already we can see that Horse has got just over 100 units of T1 shenanigans going on there. And we'll jump into Achieved, and Achieved operating on a much more modest account right now at 55. So let's hop over to Team 2 and Achieved's opponent Blast Chilled, and Blast Chilled is on comparable numbers to Achieved, so not too many problems there for either team. And then we just finish up on Evan. So Evan slightly behind in spam numbers comparatively to his opponent Horse, so Evan might just want to take a little bit of a guarded approach to that. And if we just take a quick look at the eco, well, we've got this little lull top of the charts right now at 10 minutes. It's Horse on a, well, it was Horse, it's now Blast Chilled on an income of 94, jumping up to that. In second place is 75, which is Horse, and then third place is Evan. But Achieved and Evan almost neck and neck here, 65 and 69 to Achieved being the lower, sorry. And there's a little push into the center from Horse as he's just looking to take out these 2 T1 max points belonging to Blast Chilled. Blast Chilled is electing not to defend those 2 max points. And I think AchievedJaguar there just recycling some of his T1 land factories as he transitions into T2. And it looks like he's just getting up a few parashields and T2 flak. Probably won't build any T2 tanks, or they don't usually, the pros, when they're Aeon. And T2 max going down there belonging to AchievedJaguar, so the TML there picking up, well actually that's its 5th kill. And there's another max up here that's gone down belonging to Horse. So this TML launcher belonging to Evan, causing all sorts of problems along the front lines for Team 1. I imagine there's TMD being thrown up all over the place, as really it's in striking distance of so much eco belonging to Team 1. And we just see that the outside yellow circle indicating its range. So look at all that ground that Team 1 are going to have to cover with TMD. And we'll also just take a quick peek there as Evan going into a sustained power stall just as he's getting his T2 power generator online. that shouldn't be too problematic. It was resolved fairly quickly. And AchievedJaguar finishing shield upgrade on his comm. So AchievedJaguar now with a double gun and shield Aeon ACU. And I'm just trying to scout out for Blast Chill's ACU. So the Seraphim ACU of Blast Chill has gone gun, nano and T2. I know which ACU I would prefer to be commanding right about now, but Achieved and Blast Chilled looking like they're squaring off here for a little tete-a-tete as they begin to exchange some semi-civilized right arm action. And the micro of the shield not quite protecting its owner as it just backs off, and Achieved is already about half health on his shield here. Backing up all the way, he's trying to get the range advantage on the lower ranged ACU of Blast Chilled, and Blast Chilled is just out of range there, and Achieved continuing to lick the paintwork of Blast Chill's ACU, but the nano doing a fine job against the double gun Aeon. So AchievedJaguar is little more than just a menacing nuisance right now at the superior range of his ACU, but lack of firepower, or should I say the superior regen on Blast Chill's ACU. And Blast Chill now just diverting some units down to the southward beach area, taking out a T1 max point. There might be another max point being lost there, but Achieved already looking like he's countered that effectively. And Blast Chill now pulling back his main party of units as Horse begins to reinforce from center towards the bottom third of the map. And Achieved is just continuing to dance around the front lines with his ACU, just trying to get some vet going. And having pushed south to reinforce, Evan has also mirrored the movements of his opponent in doing so. But if we just take a quick look at it, just from the overview, we can see that Horse is way up on his spam here. So Horse now packing clear of 200 units, and if we just jump into Evan, and Evan just over 100, I think. On-screen math, not good. But it's around about the 100 mark. So in terms of unit numbers right now, Horse with a 2-to-1 advantage over his opponent, but Evan is clearly packing in more T2 into his mix. And again, we've got a clash brewing on the south end here as Blast Chilled is trying to push southward. He realizes that AchievedJaguar is a little bit isolated in the middle, so he's trying to push through on the south, and he's got a clear run now with that super Seraphim ACU, and he's just going to one-shot these Auroras as he walks in, being followed up by a pretty chunky contingent of Ilshivas here. So Blast Chill just pausing there as he lets his ACU catches up with the faster units, and the ACU again begins to lead the charge, and we just saw a little OC there going off on a max point, and now Blast Chill beginning to pull back his ACU. No, he's not. He's got a radar up. He wants to see what's around him, and AchievedJaguar now is in with his ACU. He's caught back up with the action and already peppering. Oh, and there, a nice OC from AchievedJaguar, taking out 3 of the Ilshivas in one shot there, and Blast Chill now being forced to pull back. But Blast Chill really with a tech advantage right now. The Ilshivas causing all sorts of trouble, on Horses having to juggle the responsibilities of keeping back his own opponent and potentially having to reinforce his teammate here. And I'm pretty sure that Achieve must be rushing T3 here. I say rushing T3, It's 18 minutes. I wouldn't say it's a rush, but yes, AchievedJaguar is at T3 already. I don't see any T3 units on the field just yet. And Blast Shield now trying to push the middle forward position of AchievedJaguar, but running into resounding Oblivion volleys. And a Blast Shield now just going to pull that back. And we've got a drop here from AchievedJaguar right into the back of Blast Shield's base. And what a drop this is, because just look at all the max points that are within range of these two harbs. And already Blast Shield has lost 4 of the max points. The 5th one's going to go down, and these are going to continue to rampage as Blast Shield scrambles to find a response here. And he's just separating the two harbingers is AchievedJaguar, and he's going after this T2 max here and this T2 max on the left side of the screen, and both look like they're going to go down. And what a crippling drop this is. Just look how much damage these two harbs have done to the eco of Blast Shield. 7 T2 maxes going down there at the hands of 2 harbs. Fantastic drop from Achieved. And the swarm of T1 spam continues to swell in the center from Horse, and I'm starting to think that he actually needs to start using them and apply some pressure to Evan, who is completely outnumbered right now. But all the action is on the south end of the map as Blast Shield trying to push into Achieved's position on the beach, but AchievedJaguar now reinforcing with some harbingers, and upon seeing those harbingers, Blast Shield is recalling everything he's got. We do have some T3 rolling forward from Blast Shield as well in the form of Offhams. But Blast Shield just needs to fall back and regroup slightly here. He's still got his ACU forward, so this isn't a really dangerous push from AchievedJaguar, and AchievedJaguar recognizing that, and just upon shooing away the push from Blast Shield is just going to recall of his own units. And we've actually got Navy up here from Blast Shield as well, and Evan on the north of the map is also gone Navy, and we've already got a couple of cruisers out from Evan here, causing all sorts of trouble for Horse's T1 interceptors. So Team 2 employing the use of Navy. Interesting to see how this is going to pan out, as neither of the Team 1 players look like they've been interested in getting any Navy going. And we've got a group of engineers of Horse there just being sacrificed one after another at the hands of those cruisers. And there's another drop heading in from AchievedJaguar. It's only got 1 harb on board this time, and the second unit is a Aurora. Well, the Aurora, I'm not sure if that was a mistake. Maybe it was, I don't know. I'm pretty sure he would have packed 2 harbs in, or at least intended to. So the second drop from Achieved, not managing to get the penetration of the first drop right into the core area of the maxes, but there's nothing really stopping Achieved pushing up with this harb into the same area. Although saying that, Blast Shield hasn't even had a chance to rebuild these maxes yet, so it's almost pointless AchievedJaguar pushing into this position again, because there's no maxes to take out. Maybe just to kill the build power and continue to frustrate Blast Shield with recovering from the crippling blow of the first drop. I mean, it wasn't really crippling, but it was pretty effing impressive. And AchievedJaguar now just dancing around the formation of Blast Shield's forward units here, using the superior range just to get some vet going on his ACU, and he's now up to a 3-star level ACU. I've got an OC going off there, and it takes out 2 Ilshivers, an Offham, and a Tham, I think the 4th unit was. And that taking Achieved up to a 4-star ACU now, up in the north end of the map, and It looks like the Horse has decided to try and charge the navy of Evan with Zeus. I think Evan's just going to have enough to repel the last few Zeus here. If we just kind of zoom in and take a look at the wreckage, there was a lot of freaking Zeus that were sent forward there by Horse. So Evan there just managing to counter that with the frigates, and Evan there just control K'ing a lot of T1 units there, and the engineers are going to move in to get some reclaim up on them as Evan looking to fully commit to T2 and T3 spam. Now we've got Percival's rolling forward from Evan, and some very nice use of T3 mobile artillery being used there, and on its second volley this demolisher from Evan up to 17 kills, and Horse now pulling back his formation. And over in the south we've got cruisers up now from Blast Shield, and this looks like it's going to be really annoying for AchievedJaguar to deal with. He's got some TML up to try and deal with this as Achieved, and I'm not sure what he'll be targeting. I imagine he'll be going for the factory as opposed to the cruisers, because the cruisers can move, of course. And indeed going for the factory there of Blast Shield, but there's going to be a few more volleys required to take out the factory. And over on the north side of the map, Horse trying to deal with the navy with torp bombers. Needs more than a few to deal with cruisers, and demolishers continue to carry out their namesake on the T1 formation of Horse, losing yet more spam, and another 4 or 5 units going down there, as well as taking the T2 PD down to less than half health. But back in the south mid section, AchievedJaguar edging forward with his ACU once again, and he's accompanied this time by a quite menacing looking group of Harbingers and Blast Shield. It doesn't look like he doesn't know what he wants to do here. Blast, he's edging in, he's edging out. Needs to be careful because his comm's pretty isolated here. He's got a lot of units around him, but the majority of it is T1, and I just wonder what Achieved would achieve here if he pushed all these harbs in together, because there's not a lot of protection there for Blast Shield. But actually now Evan's pushing southward with a very sexy group of Percivals, and Achieved is having to back up here, and Horse just telling Achieved that they are Percys and he needs to be careful. And now I'm wondering what Evan would achieve if he pushed in these Percys. We've got a party of T1 bombers coming in from Blast Shield, and they're going for the ACU of AchievedJaguar and not doing too much damage. Achieved just losing about a quarter of his shields there. Maybe that was an opportunity missed there for Evan. If Evan had just pushed in with those Percivals, a couple of volleys would have completely wrecked the ACU of Achieved. But again, I suppose leaving himself vulnerable to a counter push from Horse. But back on the south, and the navy continuing to be a menace for AchievedJaguar. He's lost control of the max points along the beachfront, and Blast Shield has even taken up the hydro for himself. But the TML volleys continue to rain in from AchievedJaguar, and finally he's actually managed to take out that T2 factory of Blast Shield. And we've got a fat boy now on the front lines from Evan, and it's already beginning to lay down long range fire on the ACU of Achieved, and Achieved is going to have to back right up now. And this middle it's just toing and throwing, and Horse now going forward with a party of Yenzids trying to deal with the navy of Evan. And of course I think the Yenzi's are hover as opposed to amphibious. Yes, I am correct. Of course, Horse could go with Offhams through the water, and they do have torp damage, but the torp damage is pretty pathetic. And this fat boy of Evan now, accompanied with the Percivals, is edging ever closer into the forward position of AchievedJaguar. And Horse now needs to start doing something about his opponent, because he's just sat back, and Evan is really kind of assisting Blast Chilled on getting the upper hand here on AchievedJaguar. And now we see Horse starting to use his units, although he's lost quite a lot of them to the Demolishers, it has to be said. And that fat boy now being rediverted, so the little push there, the feint from Horse, has reattracted the attention of his opponent. And Achieved just pulling his party of Harbs just to the north here as the Percivals of Evan begin to clash with the T1 of Horse, and the nice little kiting action there from the Percivals, trying to kite the incoming Offhams with inferior damage at range than the Percivals. So the Percivals doing an excellent job here of kiting the Offhams. Nice little bit of micro there from Evan. We've also got the supporting fire coming in from the fat boy, and Horse is once again going to have to recall his formation. And Horse here, well, he was at 200 units the last time we checked, and way under the 200 units now, although he does have a chicken up right now. So we've got a fat boy for Evan and a chicken up from Horse. Let's just check in with Evan. So 2 fat boys, 3 fat boys online for Evan. Well, 2 online and a third one being built. So there's definitely a tech advantage here for Evan, and the numbers starting to reach parity between the 2 opponents over on the south. And we've got a push that's coming in to support the push of the Navy with Offhams, and they've been routed along the bottom and through the water. But Achieved now has seen that, and he's repositioning his Harbingers, and Achieved just juggling now between being ready to reinforce middle, and now having to repel a sudden push. And the chicken reaches the front lines and starts to lay down plasma fire onto the Percivals of Evan. And Evan's kiting with the fat boy there, we see in the distance. It looks like the fat boy is just out of range of the chicken now, but the chicken's going to be recalled by Horse there, so calling it a draw there. But Horse trying to get some T2 gunships on the fat boy, and Blast Shield there moving in a swarm of T1 interceptors and quickly dispatching the T2 gunships. And there's a lot of mass now building up in the center. Just look at all the cheddar as we just see a T2 artillery volley there. So Horse trying to get some T2 artillery online to counter the fat boys of Evan the Crack King. And I think 2 fat boys here is going to be too much for the T2 fire base of Horse, and Horse accepting the loss there and pulling back all of his stuff. And the Navy continues to harass and skirmish on the peripheral edge of Achieved's base, continuing to be a nuisance with the cruisers. The factory's gone down, but we've still got a couple of cruisers here. There's enough TMD now up from AchievedJaguar to effectively deal with the incoming cruiser fire, but still Blast Shield denying AchievedJaguar the 3 max points on the beach. And back in the center now, the fat boys having taken out that T2 artillery fire base thrown up by Horse are free to restart their push. And Evan just having some power issues here as he's stalling. He's just trying to get a T3 power generator online to correct the stall, but it's a little bit of a sustained stall there, but not too much trouble. But this fat boy has lost its shield, so perhaps needs to move it back behind the one that still has shields. AchievedJaguar now with a GC completion at the back of his base. And we're just going to use this opportunity to recheck in on the eco stakes and top of the charts right now on a mass income of 447 per tick. It's Horse in second place. It's EvanTheCrackKing on 406 per tick. And third place is Blast Shield 396. And back in fourth place, there's a gap opening up now between AchievedJaguar and the rest of the pack, who's on 331. So this attritional denial of the beach from Blast Shield opposed upon AchievedJaguar looks like it's starting to allow Blast Shield to open up an income gap. And Achieved just getting some power issues resolved. Oh, and there's an arse washer up from Horse here. It's just circling up and winding up for a run here. As we see Percival's and Offham's and a chicken begin to clash. The fat boys laying down fire. One of the fat boys going down to a strap bomber from AchievedJaguar. And the arsewasher there coming in. I think it tried to get a bomb off, but it failed miserably and it's turned away and it's retreating to save the territory. But Blast Shield here has got his ASF in right behind right behind the arsewasher, and it's lost 2/3, 3/4 of its health there just to a handful of ASF. And Horse just saying there to AchievedJaguar in team chat, noob, and Achieve saying, hey, why don't you tell me that you were going in? So oh dear, can you really call a 1900 an air nub? And another pass coming in from the Awasar, and again failing to drop its bomb. So Horse here struggling a little bit to effectively find a use for the arse washer. I think he's got a... No, he doesn't have another one on the way. He needs to use this one that he's got, and it's just failing miserably right now. And oh, we've got a T3 Max that looks like it's going to succumb to the cruisers of Evan up in the north. And Evan there jumping straight onto the reclaim of his former fat boy. We've already got a replacement second fat boy rolling forward from Evan. The third one, or fourth one, is on its way. We've got an SMD going up from Evan as well. Sensible counter preparations. And finally the Awasar getting a bomb off over the fire base of Blast Shield. Not really too sure about the target selection there. We could have quite easily gone over to the back and taken out a P-Gen and a heap load of build power. Instead, deciding to strike at some Seraphim shields. As we all know, Seraphim shields are OP. Well, they're not OP. They're just really sexy. Really sexy. And Blast Shield continuing to deny the beach from AchievedJaguar, and AchievedJaguar actually has been forced to withdraw from the whole kind of outside circle edge of his base here. We've got 4 or 5 mexes in the middle being denied to achieve, and the 3 on the beach. But Achieved still managing to get an order of GCs up, and he's simultaneously, well, he's not now assisting this one. It looks like he's given up on that one and has started another one at the back of the base here. We've got some more T3 power going up from Achieve. We've got a GC that's pushed south here, trying to reclaim some sorely needed map control. We've got a scouting party going out from Horse now as he's over his opponent Evan, and up in the top half of the map we've got a tirade of Offhams stealthily, well, they're not very stealthy, but they're slithering under the waters at the top, avoiding the Fat Boy artillery. Very clever move here from Horse, and Evan looks like he's in a little bit of bother here at the top of his base. He's only got a handful of Percivals to repel this push, and his ACU is a T3 shield and gun comm, so it's not completely inept at defending, but that's a lot of Offhams now pushing in, and Evan there just a little bit slow on his kiting maneuver with the Percivals, and the Offhams now within very good damage range. And just look at the Percies get shredded. And Evan needs to be careful with his ACU here. This is really kind of dangerous, and we've got another push coming in from the left-hand side from Horse as the chicken of Horse dies to the Ravagers, and the Ravagers now turning their attention to the incoming Offhams, and it looks like the Horse there has just decided to recall the Offhams, and oh, I'm not sure that was, well, I guess it would have been a little bit risky, because had that push failed to kill Evan, that's just a whole lot more mass donation towards Evan. Not that Evan is in any short supply of reclaim availability right now. And down in the south, oh, an AchievedJaguar is just, he's got his GC and it's just got the head poking out of the water, so it's avoiding a lot of the incoming damage. Of course it's getting torque damage from the Offhams, but as we said earlier, torque damage from Offhams is basically a tickle, so very cheeky counter to Blast Shield's Navy there, and both cruisers have been finished off by the GC, and the GC is just going to head back up and rejoin up with the Harbingers and another GC. I wonder if he actually knew that the little head would poke out there and did that. I don't know. These 1900s, sick, man, sick. And we've got a new launcher going up from Evan now, as well as 2 more queued up Fat Boys. So Evan's not out of this just yet, but he has lost a little bit of ground here from that earlier push of the Offhams from Horse. And Horse now, well, that pretty much says everything that we need to know what Horse thinks. We're up to 15 T1 land factories for Horse now, so Horse looks like he's going to go full on spam mode there, and we just saw in team chat Evan saying there's so much reclaim, I'm going to go T3 RT, and indeed he started a Duke, so he's building a Duke and a nuke at the same time. I'm a poet and I didn't know it, but he's got enough mass right now to sustain building both of those at the same time for a little bit. Personally, I'd probably put build power on one of them, but what the fuck do I know? And there's a push coming in now. It's a triple GC push from AchievedJaguar right into the forward base of Blast Shield, and there's a solitary chicken here forward from Blast Shield, and it's about to get fucking blasted by the 3 GCs, and there it goes. It's now reduced to a smoldering ion storm, but that is going to cause its own problems for both parties here as it indiscriminately decides to zap Offhams of Blast Shield and Harbingers of Achieved alike. And we've got the 2 GCs coming together now, taking on a party of Offhams as they exit the water and they swarm in on this GC. And when the Harbingers move in, the Offhams starting to retreat to the safety of the water once again. But in the center we've got another 2 GCs wreaking havoc, and Blast Shield's throwing everything he's got to try and counter these 2 GCs, but he doesn't look like he's got enough T3 going right now. We just see an Offham there mercilessly going into the left arm of the left hand GC, and the right one's gone down finally, but it's not going to be enough because it's being reinforced by 2 more and a ever-growing party of Harbingers. And we've got another Arsewasher making its way forward here from Horse. And what's this one going to go for? Looks like it's lining up on the chicken, or maybe the support commander. Either way, it's failed miserably at applying any kind of meaningful damage. And again, Blast Shield is in with some ASF behind the Awasar, and at least this time there's better micro on the Awasar. It stops in midair, the ASF flirt past it, and then Horse is quickly in with his own ASF to dispatch Blast Shields. But again, the target selection, I don't know, maybe Horse just can't see what's going on at the back of Blast Shield's base here, but there's no, well, there was no shield coverage on some of this build power and T3 power, so maybe should have gone for that. And again, the GC push, ever pushing forward, and it's taken out one of the fat boys of Evan, and is Evan now out of fat boys? I think he is. There is 2 chickens making their way forward from Blast Shield, but with 3 GCs and a crap ton of Harbingers in the middle, those chickens aren't going to want to mess with that party just yet. But on the top side of mid, there's now a ever-sustaining, growing push from Horse moving into Evan's positions. And Evan has got a fat boy back up, and he's trying to range the incoming Zooies. Just look at the T1 factories and the spam that Horse has got going now. And Horse is now up to 24 T1 land factories. And it's the march of the Zooies, folks. And I just want to jump in here and just take a quick look at the unit numbers. So we're approaching 200 units for Horse. And Evan is in all sorts of trouble here. He's got 2 fat boys, fair enough, as a bomb goes off there from the Awasar over the shields of the fat boy and indeed Evan's ACU. But Evan with a severe numerical deficiency in unit numbers right now, and Horse is just looking like he's set to completely overwhelm Evan. And back in the south, it's been pretty, well, fairly even between Achieved and Blast Shield. Blast Shield had a mass income advantage the last time we checked in, but he's not managed to capitalize on it completely, and it looks like that Achieved, well, he's driven back the Navy now. The cruisers are gone. Blast Shield still sneaking in with a few Offhams here, trying to cut in around the bottom of Achieved's base, but I think he's going to counter that with the freshly built GC there. But that's a stalemate in the south. But in the north, it's a tirade of Zooies, and Evan is doing his best to deal with the incoming onslaught with the artillery of the Fat Boys and indeed his ACU, but it's just going to be too much eventually, I fear. We just jet back in with Horse, and we're now up to 30, yes, 30 T1 factories, and they're all producing Zoomies. And let this be a lesson to, well, anyone really, including myself, just how effective Zooey spam can be. At minute 43, we've got all sorts of T4 shenanigans. We've got a Duke that's just been built, a nuke. But do you know what's winning this game right now? The little Zooey. Well, a fuck ton of them anyway. So we just check in with Horse. We're up to 211 Zoomies right now, and he's so Horse here is completely overwhelming his opponent, and then just casually says in team chat, "Do you need mass, bro?" I love it. Oh dear. And Horse just pulling back the Zoomies here. He's just regrouping, I'm sure, instead of sending them in suicidal single file. And the RT is up from Evan, as we just touched on earlier, and it looks like it's targeting T3 power generation of Horse. Indeed it is. I don't think it's going to be enough. How far along is this nuke? The nuke's not even half done yet in the tube. And we've actually got an SMD up from Achieved, and that's going to be loaded well before the nuke of Evan is, if it ever gets loaded. And actually Horse doesn't have an SMD, so if it does get loaded, Evan might be able to turn this around, but he needs to do something quickly, because Evan's map control is ever shrinking. Just look at all the purple right now, and we do see a lot of structures going down around the map belonging to Horse. He's just lost 3 T3 power generators. He's losing a load of maxes as well, but it doesn't matter, because this is the problem. I wish the unit icons would still show up when you were viewing it in this load, because it's still a little bit difficult to tell the Zoomies from the Rex. There's that much Rex on the field. And this has got to be Evan's last stand. The Zoomies are coming in, the Offhams are there. We've got 2 chickens being pushed up as well from Horse. One of the Fat Boys is down. He's down to his last Fat Boy. It's got to go down to this chicken. And we've just got a couple of Percivals making their way up from Evan, but it's surely it's not going to be enough. And the chicken now, it's paying re-diverting his attention to the ACU of Evan, and Evan ducking, diving, weaving, firing, but it's not going to be enough, and he's going to go down to the chicken's left arm plasma beam. Never saying that, goddamn. That was a lot of spam. Yeah, that is a lot of spam. And just look at the T4. It's like an elephant graveyard here in the south between the no man's land of Blast-Chilled and AchievedJaguar. Although we say it's no man's land, but it's firmly in the control of AchievedJaguar right now, and he's meticulously hoovering up all the T4 Rex and no doubt re-diverting that straight into the fresh creation of more GCs. And I'm pretty sure Horse was into some power issues early. He doesn't actually have any E-storage, Horse, but AchievedJaguar has been pumping out some T3 power generators, so horse probably surviving on the overflow of AchievedJaguar right now, and a chicken is walked straight into the middle of Blast Shield's base, and well, Blast Shield's killed it, but it's turned into a chicken bomb. And an Aeon Storm ensues right in the middle of one of the core bases belonging to Blast Shield, and the writing firmly on the wall here at this point. As we just see the chicken going toe to toe with each other, and I'm pretty sure the one of horse is going to win. Indeed it does. Evan just asking how many Zooies horse has. Horse says 290. He's lying, Evan. He's fucking lying. He's got 315. 313. 290. And Blast Shield now. Well, he's accepting his fate like a man. He's walking into the GC fires of AchievedJaguar, and AchievedJaguar there finishing off the replay. Wow. Pretty spectacular. I don't know what to say about that. So horse here finishing on 37 T1 land factories and 8 T3 land factories. So horse just going absolutely bonkers for spam, and it's completely clinched the game here. There was a stalemate in the south between Achieved and Blast Shield for much of the match, but in the latter stages I think Achieved had turned the corner and was starting to get the upper hand on Blast. Blast ended up pushing everything into Achieved as he saw Evan going down, so I think that was really Blast Shield's last kind of ditch attempt at turning this around for he and Evan. Let's go ahead and take a look at the stuff. So a killer piece there for horse and Achieved. Let's go ahead and take a look at the categories. So horse winning 2 of 4 categories of mass income, and units built, units killed going to Evan. All those Zooies from horse, of course. And then power income going to AchievedJaguar. In terms of player of the match, pretty straightforward this one. Horse with an absolutely colossal amount of spam there. Super, super impressive. And let's just jump into this and take a look at some of the stuff. So experimental kills here. AchievedJaguar killing 9 experimentals. That's crazy in itself. Horse getting 6 experimental kills. Blast Shield getting 8 experimental kills. Wow. A lot of shit there. Right guys, hope you enjoyed that. If you enjoyed the content, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and yeah, I will catch you in the next one. Take care.